So, hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today and welcome. Today what we're going to do is we're going to focus on reading skills. So, IELTS reading skills, what are they, how do you use them, what order should we use them in, when and where should we use them. So it's a really exciting lesson. I've tried to make it a little bit easier for you to digest. I'm going to show you in a minute how I'm going to do that. But yeah, reading skills are not the most exciting thing in the world, but I've tried to make it a little bit more exciting for you guys. So how many people have we got live? We 60, 70 odd people live already. So welcome to all of the people that are live. And let me just check my phone just to make sure that everything is working okay. And we have no sound. Do we have sound? Yeah, we have sound. Okay, so everything is working okay on my phone. Please don't complain about the sound or like I can't see the picture. If you're having issues, that's an issue with your device or your computer or phone or whatever it is. Like some people come on here and complain like I can't hear you. Then just tell them to turn up the volume and it works pretty well. So everything seems to be working okay. Phone or whatever it is. And okay, so hello to everybody who has said hello already. Let's start off by just telling me where you're from. It's always great to see how many different people we're talking to from all the different places in the world. So just let me know which city are you in, which country are you in, just say hi, and then after a few minutes we'll begin the lesson. So let me see. Hello to Omar, hello to Ifran, Neroid, Huang, Sangput, Nithu, hello to Mustafa in Egypt, hello to Sabina in Baku, hello to Duk, I'm assuming you're from Vietnam. Dosti, hello to you. Hello to Ikwan. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing any of your names. There's so many of you that I have no idea how to pronounce most of your names, so apologies for that. Hello to Agnes in Italy. Hello to Prem. Hello to someone in India who I can't pronounce your name. Hello to Mehdi in Morocco. Someone from Iraq. Someone from Jeddah. Someone from Riyadh, India. Excellent. Thank you very much for letting me all know where you are and where you're from. And excellent. So, we'll begin the lesson in just a few minutes. We have 131 people live already, which is amazing. Thank you very much to all the people that are joining us live. It's not going to be just my face talking for the lesson. I'm going to be able to share my screen with you and give you a really high quality lesson. I've made a whole PowerPoint presentation for you guys, so I'm going to show you that and talk over that and teach you everything that you need. Okay, so thank you very much. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below, but I can't guarantee that I will see them all. I might look from time to time at the comments, but I won't be able to guarantee, so don't think that I'm ignoring you or anything like that. However, we will have a Q&A session at the end if we have time. So if you have a really important question, just leave it until the end, and then we will be able to hopefully, answer your question. Okay, so let's begin, I think. Okay, so let me just check that the sound and everything is working on the PowerPoint presentation, and then we can get going. Yeah, everything is working okay. Alright guys, so let's start. IELTS reading skills. What are we going to do today? We're going to look at why reading skills are a huge problem. I think this is one of the most misunderstood areas, and one of the areas of IELTS that is not taught very well, because a lot of students just don't understand what reading skills are and why they're so important. So we're going to look at why this is a huge problem. We're going to look at what the key reading skills are. If you think it's just skimming and scanning, you're wrong. There are other skills. How to use these skills in the test. So very, very important that you first understand what the skills are and then know how to use them and when to use them in the test. And strategies for IELTS reading questions. So we're going to give you a link at the end that is going to allow you to look at all of the different questions and give you strategies for all of the different questions, and so that you can study at home on your own. So wait until the end and we will give you that link. Okay, so why are reading skills a problem? So I just googled terrible teacher and this is the first one that came up. If you know which movie this is from, if you've ever seen this movie, it's a very, very famous movie, but if you know what it is, let me know. Basically, reading skills are a problem not because students don't understand what the reading skills are. I just think that they are taught poorly. There are lots and lots of great IELTS teachers out there, but there are lots and lots of lazy IELTS teachers out there. And if you look at any book or any website, the only thing that it says is skimming and scanning. So if you ask, 10 IELTS students, what are the most important things to do in the reading test? 9 out of 10 will say skimming and scanning. And then when you ask the students, so what is skimming and what is scanning? And when should you use them, and when should you not use them, and in what order? And for this type of question, when should you use them? And for this different type of question, when should you use them? They are like, well, I don't really know. Because lots of teachers say skimming and scanning, and then don't really do any work on them, and also don't discuss in enough detail the most important skill. So today we're going to look at this in a bit more detail. A number of you I can see commenting, poor network, I can't see it, it's buffering and all that. That's your internet connection, which I can't really be held responsible for. If you are having a hard time watching this, just wait for the recorded version, which will be up in about an hour. So yeah, I can't really be held responsible because you have a shitty internet connection. Alright, so skimming and scanning, what are they? You have to know what these are. So it's really, really important. As I said, lots of people say skimming and say scanning, but they don't really know what they're talking about. You have to know when to use these and when not to use them. So at the end of this lesson, I'm going to give you a link where you can look at all of the different types of IELTS reading questions, and they will show you, when is it appropriate to skim, when is it appropriate to scan, but more importantly, when you don't need to use these at all. And there is an even more important skill. There is a third skill in reading that helps you actually establish what is the correct answer, and this is the most important skill, but it's a skill that you will hear very few IELTS students and teachers talk about, and it's the one we need to focus on the most. So what is skimming? We read quickly to understand the general meaning. Alright, so this is just telling us generally what is the text about, or what are the paragraphs about. We don't need to get into any detail here. Most people do this when they read a newspaper. So if next time you're reading a newspaper, or next time you're reading, a newspaper article online, think about how you're actually reading it. Very, very few people pick up a newspaper and read every single word from start to finish in that newspaper. What they do is they skim it to find the general meaning, and then they might decide, okay, this story is interesting, I'm going to read it in more detail, or no, I'm not interested in that one and I don't need to read that. Think about next time you're reading a newspaper article or a magazine or something like that. What you will do first is you will skim everything, or most things, to establish, is this worth me reading? Should I spend my time reading this? And what you do is you just skim it, you just read the title, you read the first few words in the paragraph, or the last few words in the paragraph, or sentences, and just to get a general meaning of what it means. We do this to provide context. It simply makes finding the answer easier. So for everything you do in IELTS, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is the point of doing this? So what is the point of skimming? The point of skimming is it provides context. It provides background information. And that helps it makes it much easier for you to find the right answer and establish what the correct answer is. Context is just something that provides background information that makes it just much easier to deal with something, and that's the main reason why we do it. So what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to look at the difference between skimming, scanning, and the third most important skill, which is reading for detail. Now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you're an alien from a different planet. And what you want to do is you want to visit Earth, and you want to visit the United Nations in New York. Okay, this is going to help you understand the difference between skimming, scanning, and reading for detail. So imagine you're just approaching Earth, this is what you see, and you want to find the United Nations. What would you do? Would you immediately start and go immediately into the first country that you see and just start looking for it? No. What you're going to do is you're going to get a general overview of the Earth. You're going to generally understand where things are, and then you can start to locate where the United Nations is in New York. So this is kind of what you're doing when you are reading and when you're skimming. You're getting a general idea of what is happening. So if we look at this, we have a general idea of where the United Nations might be, and this is giving us background information. So we can see Canada, we can see the United States in the middle, we can see the Caribbean, we can see Mexico and a bunch of Central American and South American countries below. And it gives us context, it gives us background information, and this is going to help us locate where the United Nations are, and so that we can find it in detail. If you don't really know what I'm talking about right now, just bear with me, okay? So, scanning. What is scanning? We look for a particular word, phrase, or information. So information could be a time or a number or an amount or money or something like that. So a word or a phrase or information. We're looking for a particular piece of information within the text. So skimming, just general meaning of the whole text or particular parts of the text. Scanning is we're going down closer and drilling down to see a particular piece of information. We do not use this skill to find the answer. We don't use skimming to find the answer. We don't use scanning to find the answer. Skimming, general meaning. Scanning, we use this skill to locate where the answer is. So normally we are going to be seeing maybe, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 paragraphs in a text. What we want to do is we want to locate where in the text out of all those paragraphs our answer is, and that's why we use scanning. This is a time-saving skill. Think about how you use it to find the correct cinema time, or how much something costs on a menu. So imagine you are going to be you're out on a date with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or wife, and you're going to the cinema, and they said, what time does whatever film start? You wouldn't read every single piece of information on the board where it shows all the times. You're going to scan for your movie, and then that's going to tell you where the appropriate information is. Or if you were in a restaurant, imagine you're with your friend and you're having coffee and you're looking at how much a cappuccino costs. You're not going to start at the very first item on the menu and read every single price on the menu. You're going to scan for coffee, you're going to scan for cappuccino, and then that is going to tell you where the answer is. So scanning is not a skill that will establish the answer. Scanning is a skill that will establish the location of the answer. So you're going from a very, very up high view with skimming, and then we're getting into closer down. Imagine that you're trying to find, again, the United Nations. So the United Nations is in New York, but New York's quite a big place. So we have Manhattan in the middle, we have the Bronx to the north, we have Brooklyn and Queens to the east, and we have New Jersey to the west. So what we're going to do is we're going to scan to find where Manhattan is. Luckily, it is right in the middle. So what we're doing here is we're not finding exactly where the answer is. We're not finding exactly where the United Nations is. We know that it's in Manhattan, and that means that we don't have to look at anywhere but Manhattan. Think about Manhattan as a paragraph within the text that you're looking at. Okay, hopefully this is becoming a little bit more understandable as we go on. Reading for detail. Okay, so this is the third and most important skill. Lots of people discuss what scanning means, what skimming means, but they ignore the most important skill. This is the most important skill because it is the skill that helps us establish what the final answer is. So, again, skimming, general meaning, background information, context, scanning, location, where the answer is. This skill is where we actually find the correct answer. It involves reading this section carefully and thinking deeply about the text. So imagine you find, and we're going to look at real examples later on in this lesson, but imagine you find the correct paragraph. You need to read the whole paragraph probably, think about the differences between the different sentences and think deeply about meaning and about synonyms and vocabulary, and are there any distractors in there, and then look at the question and think very, very deeply about that. If your teacher tells you that skimming and scanning are the most important things, then you're going to get to this part and you're going to panic, rush it, not really think deeply about it, and you're going to not get the correct answer. Okay, so it takes time, but you won't get the correct answer without doing it. So I anticipated that somebody was going to ask this question, and just as I brought this point up, Huang Nun says, but we spend more time on many step in reading skill. I think what you mean, Huang Nun, is that you don't have time to follow all these steps. Okay, so very, very good question. Lots of people look, so in IELTS Writing Academy, my VIP course, I give everyone like step-by-step instructions for all of the different reading questions and all of the different listening questions. And one of the first things that people will say is, I don't have time to go through all of those steps. So you have a choice. You can do it the old way, the way that you have been doing it, and getting most of the questions wrong and running out of time. Or you can follow the steps that I suggest and get better and better and better at these steps over time, and quicker, and get the answers correct and get the score that you need. If you don't think that this is useful to you because you don't have time, please bear with me, because it does really, really help you get the correct answer and finish on time. I know how important timing is in the reading test. So this is looking at detail. So if we go back here, so we've started off from a very high point of view in our alien spacecraft. We go here, this is skimming, sort of orientating ourselves, understanding what is happening. Then we're scanning for Manhattan, so we found Manhattan. This is part of Manhattan, so imagine this is the part of the question, the part of the text that will establish the answer. So we're trying to find the United Nations, and look up, it is here. Now, if you tried to do that without skimming and scanning, then you probably would end up in a part of the world where the United Nations building isn't, and it would take you a very, very long time to find it. You probably never find it. But if you use that approach, you start off very high, skimming, find the location, then you think deeply about it. Okay, there's Chrysler Building, it's not that. St. Patrick's Cathedral, it's not that. Museum of Mathematics, it's not that. Okay, there's Japan Society here, and United Nations right beside it. That's where it is. Okay. So, application to a real question. So, we've been talking about New York and about aliens and everything. How does this apply to a real question? So this is a question that I got from the British Council website. It's free. Take IELTS British Council. Just Google it. You don't have to type in that URL. But this is one question from a multiple choice question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we would use these techniques on one particular question. Okay, so the question is a multiple choice question. What did researchers identify as the ideal time to wake up in the morning? Alright, so we've 4 different options, 4 different times. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to skim. So skimming does not mean that we read every single word. Why do we not read every single word? For 2 reasons. One, we are just looking for general meaning. We're just looking at context, background information. And 2, we don't have time. Okay, so we're starting off from, a 30,000 foot view, and we're just looking at what this is about. So if you skim this pretty quickly, you can see this is about the body's rhythms, biological rhythms related to time. So what time you should get up in the morning, what time you should eat, and about vitamin absorption and all of those things. Okay, so we'll read this quickly, and we've skimmed it to understand general meaning. Then we go back to the question, what did researchers identify as the ideal time to wake up in the morning? Okay, so we know generally what it is about. Next, we are going to scan for the specific information that we need. Okay, so we have a range of times here. Okay, so we have, if we go here, let me get my pen out here. So what we would do, we would scan for the different times. So it's not this one, there are no times here, there are no times here, there are no times here, but there are times in this paragraph. Okay, so is this going to help us find, is this going to establish the correct answer immediately? No. What it's going to do is it's going to tell us the location of where the answer is. But most importantly, it means we don't have to worry about any of these other 3 paragraphs for this particular question. So it saves us a whole load of time, and it tells us exactly where it is. Okay, so what did researchers identify as the ideal time to wake up? Okay, so now we're reading for detail. We have skimmed, we have scanned, now we're reading for detail. What is the ideal time to wake up? I want your participation in this. Take 1 minute to read this and then tell me what is the correct answer. So a few people have said 7 already. Abish needs a speaking partner. Okay, good answer. Anna 722, Majib 722. Let me know, guys. What do you think? If you actually give an answer, what you're doing is you're activating your brain. What will happen is you're going to remember this stuff, everything you have learned, if you participate in the lesson. If you don't do that, you might learn a little bit, but you won't learn as much as the people who are actively participating in it. It's all about just activating the parts of your brain to make sure that you remember this stuff. Okay. So some people are saying 7, some people are saying 722. Mustafa, I'm ready for a speaking buddy. Amazing answer, Mustafa. Adiba is saying 604. Pia is saying 722. Rick is saying 722. Sahar is saying 730. Okay, so a good range of answers. So, as always, what we'll do is we'll go back and double check the question. So, what did researchers identify as the ideal time, so the best time, to wake up in the morning? Okay, so let's have a look at this. The average urban resident, for example, rises at an eye-blearing time of 6:04. So this is what time the average person wakes up. Does average mean ideal? No, it does not. and it gives you an extra clue here, which researchers believe to be far too early. Okay, so it's not ideal. One study found that even rising at 7 a.m. has deleterious effects on health unless exercise is performed for 30 minutes. Alright, deleterious effects, that's a negative thing. Okay, so that's not ideal. But even if you didn't know what deleterious effects, I'm probably mispronouncing that, means, the optimum moment has been whittled down to 7:22 a.m. and most of you got this, okay? The optimum moment. Optimum means as a synonym of ideal, okay? So I think 90% of you got that, so that's great. Well done to everybody. So, general strategy. Alright, so we've looked at skimming, scanning, reading for detail. Is there a general strategy that you should follow? Many of you are probably thinking that the general strategy is skim, scan, detail, then you'll get the correct answer. Alright, do most of you think that that's the correct thing to do? Let me know. Yes, that's a good idea, or no, that's a bad idea. Let me know what you think, just so I can see how you guys are thinking about this. And then that will help me with the rest of the answer. But in the website, the answer was written 7:30. No, it's not. 7:30 wasn't even an option in the text. Martina, yes. Benji, yes. Rasha, yes. Gonapa, yes. Mary, yes. Aha, depends on the person. Good answer. That is actually a good answer. I'm not being sarcastic. Dr. Aisha, yes. Okay, everybody says yes. You are wrong. You are all wrong. This is far too simple. Okay? So, it is far too simple to think that for every different type of reading question, and so let's think of how many different types of reading question that there are. There are true, false, not given, yes, no, not giving, matching information, matching headings. What other ones are there? Multiple choice, short answer, completion ones, all the different types of ones that you can have. If you think that there is one single strategy for each of those different types of question, you are wrong. It's the same as trying to answer all of the different types of writing question in exactly the same way with the exact same structure. You will be wrong, okay? So, there are many different types of questions and they all require a different strategy. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the lesson. Lots of teachers just say, you need to skim and you need to scan. Well, when do I skim and when do I scan? What do I do for true, false, not given questions versus matching headings questions? Are they different? Are they the same? What about matching information or sentence completion? What about them? They are all different. You can't have one single strategy. So where can you find help with this? IELTSadvantage.com/reading. If you go there, you will find strategies for all of the different types of reading questions. You won't get any help because it's free. You know, you won't be able to ask me any questions or anything like that. But if you want to work at home alone, that's where they all are. Will you be able to read them and immediately get a band 9? Absolutely not. What you need to do is you need to follow strategies, and you need to implement them and you need to practice a lot. But it's all there for you if you want. You can either type that URL in. It's free. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Most of you are not going to implement it. Most of you are not going to practice it. So, it's pretty easy to give it away for free because most of you are not going to do it. But it's there for you if you want it. So type in the URL, or what you can do is you can just Google it, IELTS Advantage Reading, and you'll be able to find anything you need. Okay? Alright, so that's the end of the lesson. And see if I can go back here. Alright, so thank you very much to everybody who watched the lesson, and especially thank you to all of the people who commented and asked questions and helped with the lesson. It's really, really important that you do that. So let me see, what time is it? 3:34. Alright, so let's do about 15-20 minutes of Q&A. If you have if you've already asked a question, I won't be able to look back at all the different questions, but feel free to ask a question now. I have my phone with me, so if you ask a question, have a look at that. First question, please elaborate on heading selection. It's on the website. Go and have that link. Go and have a look. Chris, how can we adapt this to identifying information? Go to the link. I think that 90% of my answers are going to be go to the link. So please guide me more on reading skills. Go to the link that I gave you. Yeah. Anybody got any specific questions? If you do, more than happy to answer them for you. But if you have a question about reading strategies, I just gave you a link. So how can I manage time? That link, there's a thing about time management in reading. Ninke, thank you for your nice words. Mercy, please explain true, false, not given. Go to the link. Tanvir, how to pronounce multi and anti? Just how I did. How can I develop my listening skills? What is it? Hong Nun? Oh my god, I see one woman behind you, Chris. You can see somebody behind me? That must be a ghost. How to manage to find recorded videos on the page. Just have a look through them. I think there's a videos tab. You can have a look there. What time does course start again? It's an online course, so you do it whenever you like. Is it easy to get 7 after getting a 4.5? No, it's very, very difficult. You're jumping 2.5 bands, so you're going to have to improve your IELTS skills and your general level of English. It will take you a long time to get your general level of English to that level, because you need both. You need both IELTS skills and you need, your general level of English to be at that. I'm not able to understand the whole meaning of paragraphs and time management. You don't have to understand every word. You don't have to understand everything in a reading, in a passage or a text. If you see lots of words you don't understand, you can either ignore them or you can guess the meaning of them. You don't need to understand everything. Nobody can understand everything in the reading. Usually in which paragraph do we find the writer's opinion? Is it the last paragraph? Could be anywhere. Some writing will not have the writer's opinion in it at all. It will be, just purely factual. Some will be opinion pieces, but it could be anywhere. Difference between true, false, not given, and yes, no, not given. Go to the link. Josna Sabu Sebastian. No videos tab found on Pell Academy. There is, you're just not looking hard enough. And this is not Pell Academy. This is our free page. So go and ask in there. Let me see. Sorry, it's just taking me a while to understand some of these questions. How do I understand the gist of a paragraph to match to a heading? And normally the first one or two sentences and the last one or two sentences, if you read that, it will tell you what that is about. Is it very hard to get 7? Depends. Some people it's very, very easy. Some people it's impossible. Depends on many, many different factors. How to improve reading? By reading a lot or doing lots of tests? Good question. So should you read a lot, just read English, or should you do lots of IELTS practice tests? Read a lot. Doing lots of IELTS practice tests is useful, but it should be a very, very small component, a very small part of your overall preparation. If you just do IELTS practice tests, you are not going to really improve. It would be much, much better if you read just something that you're interested in English for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour a day, and that's really going to improve your vocabulary, your grammar, your reading skills, your ideas development, everything. It doesn't have to be some boring IELTS test. If you like football, read about football every day. Whatever it is you're interested in. Can we use blue or black pen? That has absolutely no bearing on your IELTS score, so I'm not even going to answer it. I had some guy who emailed me yesterday, what should I wear in my IELTS test? It doesn't matter. You're worrying about stuff that doesn't matter. Manu, ready? How to become a VIP member? You need to get invited. We only allow people to join if we invite them. Can you provide me a sample of the IELTS exam? Google will. Google will help you with everything. Just Google is your friend. You don't need to waste someone's time by asking them that question when Google will help you without telling you you're wasting their time. Could we use phrasal verbs in writing? I would avoid them. Avoid phrasal verbs in writing. Use them in speaking, but try and avoid them in writing. My husband took 5 times, and he got 7, but in speaking, I don't really understand. Do we need to write capital letters when we answer in the answer sheet? If you can, if you want, you don't have to. You can even enroll in tutorial. Just choose unlimited review. Dewey, Joy, don't understand what you're talking about. Okay. Not many sensible questions. There's a lot of questions, but not many sensible ones. So I'm just picking those. So if I'm ignoring your question, it's either I don't understand what you're talking about, or it's just not a very good question. Okay, alright, I think I'll leave it there, because we're just getting so many questions that either don't mean anything or would be a bit of a waste of my time, and a waste of your time, more importantly, for me to answer them. So, thank you very much to everybody who participated. I really, really appreciate your time. We're going to try and do one free live lesson a week here, but every time I say something like that, I very rarely do it, but let's try one a week as a minimum, and then we'll try and keep it going that way. Alright, thank you very much, guys, and hope you find it useful. If you joined us late and you're just watching this live, the recorded version of everything will be up in a few minutes time on this page. So again, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you find it useful. Give me your feedback in the comments. If it was terrible, tell me it was terrible and the reasons why. If it was great, tell me it was great and the reasons why, so that I can make it better for you guys in the future. This is all free, so the only thing we ask is that you like, share, or even just say thank you in the comments below, and that's all we ask for. Thank you very much.